Good morning, St. Luke's. It is Saturday and it is Pentecost Eve. And you're like, okay, and? Well, that means tomorrow's Pentecost. And you might be, okay, so? Well, this is a big deal. You see, these first followers of Jesus actually waited for this gift that Jesus said was coming, the gift of the Holy Spirit. Mentioned this yesterday, right? The gift came. And when the gift came, well, Luke says, it was like fire, it was wild, it was like the breath of God. I mean, how do you describe God's presence? Very difficult, isn't it? So Luke uses all sorts of poetic language, but here's how we'd say it today. When we're alert, when we're awake, when we're paying attention to the right things, as opposed to distracted, unfocused, and self-directed, when we're in the right place, St. Paul would say, when you're moving in the Spirit, when you're spiritually attuned, when you're paying attention, communication is greatly enhanced. Remember yesterday I told you that when the Spirit fell, they could all understand each other? Remember the language barriers all just dropped away for a moment? Oh, this is so good. I mean, one of the things that we learn from Peter is, and remember Peter was one of the leaders. When he speaks, Acts chapter 1, when he speaks, God gives him capacity to read the crowd. And in fact, he begins, when he speaks, he's speaking to thousands, by the way. He says, let me explain this to you. That's the phrase he starts off with. Let me just tell you something here. Let me explain something. He's not giving opinion. He's not saying, here's my advice. He's not saying, here's what I think you should do. Now, there's lessons here. Before he speaks, he sees the situation very, very clearly. I'm suggesting that we can learn from this. He gets the understanding, he sees the motives, he reads the room. Before he speaks, he knows exactly where he's going. Now, wouldn't that be a good way to handle tricky communication events in our life? You know, these conversations that we need to have, but we're a little hesitant having? You see, long before Peter speaks, he sees very accurately, with God's help, right? Because he's moving in this power and energy. He sees very accurately what is going on. He sees the motives and what's going on. I mean, it's quite fascinating if you start to read between the lines. Pentecost, communication, the Spirit giving us the ability to see and to speak. Something to ponder. Peace be with you.